Welcome to Box Office Recap.
The movie begins with a woman working on a computer when she receives a group message. The woman named Athena is texting with a group of billionaire friends, and they are all laughing about something called a hunt that will take place in a manor. We see a guy, Richard, on a plane. The flight attendant asks him if he wants some food. He's a little pretentious but finally settles for some champagne. The flight attendant is pouring a glass when she is interrupted by a man bursting into the main cabin. Dazed and confused, Richard freaks out and says that one of them is awake. Another man, Ted, calms everyone down and makes the awakened man lie down. Suddenly he stabs him in the neck with a pen, and Ted begins to panic. Ted gets distracted for a moment, and the man hits him with a bottle. He then proceeds to threaten everyone with it. In the meantime, Athena also wakes up and starts heading toward the main cabin on the plane. Athena stabs the man in the face with a high heel and tells the others to put him back with the others. We see a woman waking up in the forest with a dog muzzle around her mouth. She sees another woman trying to create a compass to orient herself. The woman leaves and, seeing a label with her name on it, we can assume her name is Crystal. The blonde woman looks around and sees another man walking confusedly through the forest and follows him. She finds some people walking toward a box. One man starts to open it while another tells him to stop because it is most likely a trap. The first man pays no attention to him and starts to open the box anyway. At that instant, everyone starts to hide, fearing that it is a bomb. After the man successfully opens the box, a pig comes out. But there seems to be something else in the box. In fact, they find weapons and blades. Everyone starts running to the box to arm themselves. The blonde girl finds a key and starts unlocking everyone's muzzles. A man gives her a gun to defend herself, but she can't even hold it properly. A gunshot is heard, and everyone goes to hide, but the blonde girl puts herself in a vulnerable position and takes a shot directly to the head. The young man who wanted to help the blonde hides behind the box. The group realizes that the shots come from a bunker. Rambo starts running toward the bunker with 2 automatic rifles in his hands, but soon he is neutralized. Then a lady tries to escape but falls into a ditch. She screams for help, and the young man starts running to her rescue and finds her in a bad state. The young man manages to pull her out of the ditch but then steps on a landmine, and explodes. The woman falls back into the pit, and a guy approaches her. The woman asks him to shoot her, but he refuses. So she takes his gun and finishes it off herself. The new character starts running through the forest and sees a barbed wire fence. There he meets a group of survivors, and they start climbing the fence. Everyone makes it except for one guy who gets hit by an arrow and turns back to shoot those who had attacked him. The new character, calling himself Staten Island, begins to run away with the new crew. They arrive at a gas station and encounter a confused couple who think they are trying to rob them. When Staten Island asks where they are, the couple brings up the state of Arkansas. The couple starts acting strangely. They are too calm for someone in danger. Suddenly one of the survivors starts choking on the poisoned food she was eating at the gas station. The rest of the group checks on her, and before they realize what is happening, they are killed by the evil couple. The gas station couple cleans up their mess, and the wife realizes that one of the guys is married and feels bad. The husband reassures her by telling her that the man they killed was a monster. Shortly after that, they get a radio call informing them that someone else is coming to them. In fact, shortly after that, Crystal arrives. The woman enters and stares at the couple for a while, realizing that something is amiss. She asks for cigarettes, and they have a conversation during which her husband realizes Crystal is not as stupid as the others. And before he can get his gun, Crystal kills them and tells the couple that cigarettes in Arkansas have a different price. Crystal grabs some hunting bullets, takes off her jacket, and leaves the store. She surveys the area, checks the truck's license plate, and notices that it is not in Arkansas at all, but in Croatia. She checks the car carefully and realizes that it is booby-trapped. She immediately goes to hide in the bushes with the radio she took from the deceased victims and listens to the conversations of his kidnappers. Suddenly a drone flies to search the area but is shot down by someone. The people on the radio immediately turn off, and we see the man who shot down the drone appear. He approaches the truck, and Crystal tells him to stop because there is a bomb. She tells him he should not have shot down the drone because now they know they are here. Crystal and the new acquaintance, Gary, start walking along some tracks. Soon after, a train arrives, and the duo starts running after it. They manage to get on it and hear a noise. It appears to be a caravan of immigrants, and Gary thinks they are actors and raises his gun. Crystal tells him to calm down, and suddenly, the train stops, and soldiers block the immigrants and the duo. Gary approaches a soldier and explains to him that this whole thing is an act and that these are not real refugees. The soldiers walk away without saying anything, not knowing what to do. One of the immigrants approaches Gary and tells him to calm down in a perfect American accent. The man says he is the only actor here, and the other immigrants and soldiers are real. Gary loses his temper and confronts him violently. He sticks a grenade in his pants, and the actor explodes. Gary runs away, and Crystal gets into a caravan with soldiers and refugees. She arrives at a refugee camp and meets the man in charge, who starts interrogating her. But she doesn't cooperate and starts to tell him to call the American embassy. He asks her if she is being hunted like Don, and they bring the man to her. Don is revealed to be one of the victims hunted by the billionaires earlier. Crystal and Don have a conversation, and in the process, a man arrives in a car to pick them up. The driver and Don are very excited, but Crystal analyzes him carefully. In fact, she notices that the driver is starting to act rather suspiciously. He asks why they think this is happening to them, of all people, and as we now know, Crystal is not stupid and kicks the man out of the car and drives over his head. Don is freaking out and says Crystal is doing it wrong until they find Gary's body in the trunk. Crystal finds a map, and Don says that they should run away now that they have a car. But Crystal disagrees. She wants revenge. She doesn't want to let these billionaires get away with it. We cut to the billionaires in the bunker. They discuss with Sergeant Dale what they should do now. Dale is the one who trained them for this day and is their military advisor. He tells everyone to keep their voices down, but the others begin to mock him for giving commands like a boss. Sergeant Dale knows that not all the prey have been killed and they are in danger. Richard goes outside to take a leak but is immediately killed by Crystal. Don lets the piglet go. Dale says to concentrate and look around because the base is about to be attacked. Everyone gets distracted by the piglet, and one of them is taken out by a crystal. A shootout ensues in which Crystal neutralizes everyone without any difficulty. Crystal then kills the last hunter, who has managed to escape from the bunker. She thinks she has succeeded in dealing with everyone but is suddenly attacked by the soldier. She pulls a plank from the ceiling and hits the soldier hard but doesn't kill him. Crystal leaves one woman alive so that Dawn can ask her one last question. Dawn asks her why she is doing this to them, to which the lady replies, quite sarcastically, because Jesus told her to. Crystal kills the woman, after which someone on the radio, which we can assume is Athena, suddenly tells Dawn if he has captured Crystal. The protagonist raises her gun, and the two find themselves in a difficult situation. Athena tells Dawn to hurry up and shoot her, but he says Athena is just teasing Crystal. The girl tells Dawn to drop the gun, but for some reason, he does not, and Crystal shoots him. Athena's plan doesn't work, and she tells Crystal to come and get her. Crystal notices that Sergeant Dale is still alive and stops to talk to him. She asks him where Athena is and says she will not give up. She begins to press on the soldier's wound that he cannot stand and reveals Athena's location to him. Crystal could escape without risking death by fighting Athena, but there is something inside her that demands revenge. The sergeant believes that Crystal is no match for Athena, but Crystal's background in the armed forces will prove otherwise. Suddenly a flashback from a year earlier shows Athena entering his office. She talks to two superiors who say they have come into possession of some texts dating back to the film's beginning, in which Athena mentions the manor hunts. They say that since people believe that rich people actually hunt people for sport, she is a bad figure for the company. Athena states that she doesn't know what they are talking about and that the texts are just jokes. But now, since it's all over the internet, she has to leave the company. Athena fiercely asks who these people are who are accusing her. After a while, a group of people together with Athena choose the participants in the hunt. When the image of Crystal appears on the screen, Athena decides that she will be her main enemy. Back in the present, Crystal arrives at Athena's manor. The woman tells her to put the gun in the mailbox, or she will simply blow her up. Crystal agrees to the conditions and enters the manor. When Crystal enters the house, she hears classical music and sees photos of all the participants in the hunt hanging on the wall. Athena waits for the woman in the kitchen while she prepares dinner and asks if Crystal killed Don, but doesn't tell her if he was one of the hunters. They start talking about why Athena organized this hunt, which makes Crystal laugh because the reasons are quite stupid. Crystal reveals that she is not who she thinks she is. It turns out that the woman who published the conspiracy theory against Athena has the same name as Crystal. In fact, capturing a former war veteran and survival expert would not have been very smart. After discovering the truth, Crystal grabs a knife and starts chasing Athena. Crystal throws everything she can at her opponent, including a bottle of expensive collectible champagne, but Athena manages to catch and save it. A moment later, Athena jumps up the chimney, retrieves a gun from her bag, and follows Crystal up the stairs. They fight over the guns, and suddenly Crystal throws her opponent down the stairs, and she falls too. The battle continues with Athena grabbing some knives and Crystal grabbing her cloth. Athena yanks Crystal, who tackles the other. Both women crash into a window and agree to take a break. The battle continues, and once again, Athena eventually gets the better of Crystal. In the process, Athena begins to lash out, but it seems that Crystal is made of sterner stuff and pulls out her blades. Crystal pounces on Athena and stabs her. Both women lie bleeding on the floor. Crystal starts talking, and Athena discovers that they have more in common than she thought. Eventually, Athena dies, and out of nowhere, a rabbit appears. Crystal gets up to eat and tends to her wounds. She dresses in extravagant attire, grabs the very expensive bottle of champagne, and heads for the private jet. She gets on the plane and tells the cabin crew that she has killed everyone and they must bring her home. Sitting in the seat, Crystal offers the stewardess to try the caviar and says how damn delicious the champagne is. The end.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more recaps and hit the bell icon for notifications.